Hi, today's sales thought of the day has to do with goal setting and goal planning. Here's a goal. I've heard several definitions. The ones I like the best are these. Just simply, it's a target. Target with a completion date. Or a really cool one that I heard was it's a dream with a timeline. So why would we want to set a goal? Well, I think most of us know, but let's just cover it again anyway. By having a goal, then we have something to shoot for. It also allows us to be able to see where we're at in that particular process. Let's say, for instance, we've got a goal to make a certain amount of money. We're going to use $60,000. Well, if we're halfway through the year and we know at the end of the year that we want to achieve that $60,000, we can see where we're at, see if we're on track. If we're doing something like, for instance, climbing Mount Everest, and that's our goal, is to climb Mount Everest. Well, when we're halfway there, we know we're halfway towards our goal. So it gives us really a way to measure where we're at, which will keep us more motivated as we're striving towards the dream with the timeline or that target. Next, let's talk about the lucky 13 rules for setting goals. So again, these are combos of information I've learned over the years from several trainers, and it's a mashup of all of them. Let's go through them and let's see what we can achieve with goal setting. So rule number 1, find some quiet time and sit down and figure out exactly what it is you want. Brainstorm. Anything's on the table, write it all down. A spark, what puts a fire in your belly? What's exciting you? What is an area that you're maybe fed up? You're like, I want to do better at this. I'm sick of this. It's time that I do this. And in our particular situation, let's choose something. Let's say that we want to make more money. Hey, I've been struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. I don't want that anymore for myself. I'm going to make more money this year. Number 2, it needs to be measurable. Since we've been discussing the automotive business, let's say that in our first 6 months in the automotive business, we made $25,000 or the equivalent of $50,000. And this year we say, you know what? I want to make another $10,000. Let's shoot for $60,000. So you've got something that's measurable, something you can wrap your arms around and you'll know if you make that amount of money. So rule number 3, it has to be controllable. It has to be something that's within your power, something that you can actually affect and that you can actually change. A good example of something that's not in your control would be you want to get taller. I want to go in the NBA, so I'm hoping that I can get a little bit taller. I'm 5'6" now, and I'm hoping to be 6'4" by the end of the year. It's just, it'd be nice if that was the way you could do it, but you just can't. In fact, if somebody knows how to get themselves that much taller, I'd like to know about it myself. So let's use the goal of it's measurable. We're going to use $60,000. It's controllable because we are in a commissioned business of automotive sales. And so it's very possible we're not limited in our income because it's really up to us. More sales equals more dollars. Rule number 4. This is a big one. Put it in writing. Goals are 42% more likely to be achieved when they're put in writing. Now, I've heard several trainers or people over the years talk about why you want to put it in writing. One of my favorites is it crystallizes it in your mind. It crystallizes it. Just think about that. Crystallizes it, which means it coats it over. It's something that's sparkly and it sticks out. It's crystallized in your mind. I've also heard if you think it, ink it, put it down. It helps if you review it daily too, and that's the nice thing about having it written. You can put it in real nice writing, you can put it on different places throughout your home or where you're going to see it throughout the day, and that way you can review it each day and you can see it and visualize it. We'll talk more here at the end about visualizing. Number 5, it has to have a completion date. And that just makes sense, especially in an income goal. At the end of the year, then we can get our W-2 out and we can look and see, hey, I did achieve that $60,000 that I had set the goal for. So our goal is going to be $60,000. It's controllable. It's something that's measurable. It's got a completion date. We can put it down in writing. So on January 1st, or we'll say December 31st of 2020, I will make $60,000. Number 6, know what you're willing to give up. You know what? There's no such thing as getting more in life without giving up a little bit. So you're going to have to give some things up. Maybe you're going to have to give up, if you're in the automotive business, maybe you're having lunch with your fellow salespeople or your colleagues. Probably not the best idea. Maybe take clients out to lunch. Take the people that are buying cars from you. You can discuss referrals. It'll hopefully lead to business in the future. Maybe you go out and prospect. You go to take a business, some lunch, and that can just help you in the business. Also, something else you might have to do is give up staying up late at night. Maybe you like to play video games till 2 in the morning. Well, you're not going to get a lot of sleep. You're not going to be so fresh. It's going to be hard to make that extra $10,000 when you're running on 3 or 4 hours sleep. So again, you're going to have to give up the lack of sleep or doing things that are keeping you from getting a good night's sleep. Also, maybe it's on Friday nights you go out drinking with your friends. Well, in the automotive business, Saturday's a huge day for the car business and for salespeople. You want to be fresh. You want to be sharp that morning and that whole day. So going out on Friday nights might be something that you're going to have to give up. And going with that is rule number 7. Know what obstacles you're going to face. If you've got a peer pressure from your buddies because you've got this drinking night that you go out on Friday nights and you watch some college football games, or you discuss your fantasy or whatever it is, you and the girls go out and you discuss different things or do different things. You may have to give some of those things up. You may have to know that that's going to be an obstacle for you, and you tell your friends ahead of time you're not going to go out, or you just don't show up. Don't think that you're going to go out for 1 or 2 drinks and still be able to go home, because the temptation, you just need to keep that away from yourself. We talked about video games. You like to stay up late. Maybe you get rid of your Xbox for a while. You go put it away. Don't buy any new games, that type of thing. So you're going to have to give some things up, and you're going to have to know the obstacles that you're going to face on the things that you're going to need to give up so you can achieve those goals. Number 8, be clear and be specific. It's not enough, in number 1, we talked about figuring out what you want, and we said, hey, we want to make more money. Yeah, here. You want more money? Here's more money. Here's $5. Oh, you were expecting a little bit more. Yeah, again, we did that when we said, hey, we want something measurable. We want to make $60,000 a year. Rule number 9. Make sure you're realistic and you're achievable. Now, our goal was to go from $50,000 a year to $60,000 a year. So it's pretty realistic and achievable. In fact, I've heard that the average person can mentally see themselves going up 15 to 20% in income a year over year. So again, to think you're going to go from $50,000 in the automotive business after only being in it for 6 months and going all the way to $350,000, and I know people that are making that right here in the market here in the Quad Cities, USA. There are people that do that, but they've got a huge client base and they've got a skill set that they've been building up for years. So make sure it's realistic and achievable. Okay? So rule number 10, tell only people that are going to support you. Now this is a big one, because a lot of times what we do is we tell our good friends and we tell our family members we want to get that support and we want to tell everybody. And I've heard this kind of go both ways. Hey, tell everybody, because that kind of puts you behind the 8 ball and then you've got to do it. However, when you tell people that are very influential and that you respect, a lot of times what will happen is they'll tell you these statistics, they'll laugh at you, they'll say, hey, come on, you never work out. You can't stand to work out. I've asked you 1,000,000 times to go to the gym with me and you never want to go. So they start telling you these statistics, or they start telling you about things that are going to make you want to give up a little bit on that goal and make you think that you can't achieve that goal. So I would only tell people that you know are going to support you. Tell people that maybe are like-minded. Maybe people, if it's a losing weight, that's the reason why there's Weight Watchers, Jenny's Craig, there's groups, there's CrossFit groups, that type of thing, because they know they can support each other. When it comes to auto sales, maybe find a like-minded colleague that just started with you that wants to work on their skills and has some similar goals to try to do better this year in 2020. Number 11, make sure that your goal doesn't hurt yourself or hurt others. I heard Jack Canfield say one time that, hey, after you leave this seminar, I want you to go out And by 6 o'clock, I want you to vandalize 15 cars. Well, hey, it's measurable, it's controllable, it's achievable, it's got a timeline, but it would hurt others. Obviously, you don't want to do those types of things. And also make sure you don't do something that would hurt you. We talked earlier about not staying up late and making sure that you attended to yourself. Well, you wouldn't want to do things like stay up late and then over drink caffeine or maybe take some type of a stimulant drug that's going to affect you later on and actually harm you physically. So again, it can't harm yourself or can't harm others. Number 12. This is a big one as well. Reward yourself in increments or at the end of the goal. When a young buck salesperson that was in the automotive business started out, somebody I know pretty well, one thing he did was he would set goals weekly. So he would set these weekly goals of selling, say, 5 cars in a week, 4 cars in a week. And if he would hit those weekly goals, he would give himself weekly rewards. For instance, maybe it was a couple different CDs. This is back in the age when people actually listened to CDs in their cars. This person would go out and buy these CDs for themselves. Maybe buy something that was a little frivolous, not super expensive, but something that was a reward. Maybe a new tie, maybe a new dress shirt, maybe a nice pen, a watch, something to that nature. Then he would set bigger goals. In 6 months, if this person achieves this many sales, then he would go out and buy a leather jacket or a gold necklace, something to that nature. You got to reward yourself, and it doesn't always have to be that either. It can be other things as well. Again, reward yourself. It's important. It reminds you why you're shooting for these goals. It also, whenever you pick up these pens and these things, they almost become touchstones because they remind you of achieving those goals. And it kind of gives you strength whenever you set goals in the future, some different type of goal, you realize you can do those goals and achieve those goals. Number 13, and that is review the written goals daily. That was number 4, is to write the goals down. It crystallizes it in your mind. When you think it, ink it, and you can review it daily. And it can't be just reviewing the goals. Just don't read them and just I will achieve $60,000 by the end of December 31st, 2020. It has to have some emotion. It has to excite you. You have to actually visualize yourself. Sit and think about how you're gonna feel. What are the emotions that you're gonna feel when you're achieving that on New Year's Eve? One of the rewards is, hey, I'm gonna go to New York and celebrate watching the ball drop if I can achieve this on that particular day. So again, you can kind of combine those types of things, and then whatever your reward's going to be, you can visualize that reward and visualize that feeling and try to even bring those emotions to yourself, almost as if you've achieved it, almost that you know whenever you achieve it at the end, you kind of say, this is how I thought it would be. This is what I thought. So those are the 13 lucky rules for goal setting that you need to follow. Lastly, let's cover the 5 biggest mistakes most people make when they're setting goals. And number 1, set the goals too high, become discouraged, quit, and decide you're not going to do them. Again, we talked early on about being a new salesperson in the automotive business, and we were going to set a goal for ourselves of $350,000. And again, it depends on the market, and it depends what you're selling, I guess. However, in this market here, it would be unrealistic, and it would be something that would probably discourage you. I do agree that you should shoot for the moon, and sometimes you'll hit the stars. I've heard that quote as well. However, you don't want to get discouraged. So you can always readjust. And if you're on track to make $70,000, you can readjust and go up to $75,000 or $80,000. However, I would say guard against going too high. And I'd be realistic, because that actually was one of our rules. Number 2, the second biggest mistake most people make is they don't have a true commitment. No fire in the belly, no passion. It was just kind of something that, I was just hoping I could do it. That's the reason why at the very beginning, number 1, figuring out what you want, sit down, have some quiet time, brainstorm more than one goal you want to achieve. Maybe let it sit and let it kind of marinate for a couple days, and then go back and see, are those really things that you want? Are they really something that lights you up, that puts that fire in your belly, that you'll do no matter what? Tony Robbins says we get our musts in life, and if you get yourself to a point where you find out what you want and you say, I must quit living paycheck to paycheck, I must lose weight, I'm sick of this. If you get to those aha moments, those I'm in the gutter so low, I'm sick of this type of moment, you'll turn that into a must, and then you'll achieve it because you'll have that fire. So so the second mistake most people make, no commitment, no fire in that belly. Number 3, the third biggest mistake most people make is they don't put it in writing. They don't write them down. They don't put those goals down. Then you can't review it daily. You can't sit and look at it each night or each morning. And one thing I didn't mention that I will now that we're talking about putting goals in writing is take advantage of your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is extremely susceptible to suggestion the first 15, 20 minutes in the morning and the last 15, 20 minutes at night before you're getting ready to go to bed. Your brain waves get yourself into a state where you're able to suggestion. So take advantage of that, and that will help achieve those goals. So again, they have to be put in writing. Crystallize it in your mind. So number 4, friends, family, they've got good intentions, or just anybody that you feel is an authority. When you hear them tell you that you can't achieve it, or you hear the statistics that are stacked against you, a lot of times you'll negatively let that influence you, and you'll say, you know what, it was just kind of a silly goal anyway. I think I'm being kind of stupid, and you let that self-doubt leak in, and then your dream's dashed, and you just let it go. And there's a lot of people that have this music inside them. They have this goal, they have this skill inside of them that, who knows, it was maybe left untapped. I mean, who knows? Maybe you're a rock star. Maybe you can make Jimmy Page look like he doesn't know what he's talking about when he plays guitar. Or Eddie Van Halen. And you just never even picked up and tried the guitar, and who knows, maybe you denied the world of the best music guitarist there was or is. So number 5, they don't reward themselves upon completion or in increments. Maybe it's you've been working hard, give yourself a spa day, get a massage, release some stress, get a steam bath, hot yoga, those types of things. So in conclusion, we said that 87% of the people out there don't have any goals at all. Now, 10% actually do set goals, but 3% are the ones that set goals the right way. So the question is, are you going to be a 3%er? It's not hard. I just gave you the lucky 13 rules that you need to follow for success. And remember, those 3%ers, they make 10 times more. 10 times more than the other 97% combined. So there's a huge pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for those 3%ers that follow the lucky 13 rules of goal setting. I wish you luck. Let's make more money in 2020.